How's it going, everybody? This is Crazy Care Bear, the owner of Poseidon eSports. I am making this video in response to Avery, or you may know him as ViiTaL View, the owner of ViiTaL eSports. Now, he put out a video last night talking about the soon-to-be struggles of the amateur portion of the esports industry, and he brought up very good points that aren't being talked about that really do need to be discussed, and we need to kind of dissect them and come together as a community and figure out a way to continue this going. And one of it is all the huge investors that are investing, just dumping a whole bunch of money into some of these bigger teams. Texas Rangers are dumping money into esports, the Yankees, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and a lot of these big name esports teams like Optic Gaming, Envious, Echo Fox, they're all raking in the money. Cloud9 just got a huge one from WWE. So it brings about the question of, as these companies are getting super big and they're becoming superstar companies, where does that leave us as the little guys? And he took a little bit of a cynical approach to it, and I don't blame him for it, because it is it is murky and we're not quite there yet. But I feel like he may be missing a few things when he's looking at it. A perfect example is a lot of the teams that are investing in us is baseball. So he feels like if they start investing in all these teams, start building up stadiums and this, that, and the other, that it's just going to cut out all the amateur league altogether. And that could really never happen, because even as stout as the Major League Baseball Association is, they still have farm leagues, they still have AAA, they still have AA, they still have single A, and then there's like Cape leagues and the Gulf Coast leagues and stuff like that, they farm players because pros retire, people get injured, there's stuff that happens, life happens, and people leave. So, you're not just going to become a pro and just stay that way, and it's just life and that's it, and there's no room for anywhere underneath, because then they're just going to run out of players in 3 years, and then, esports is done. So there are going to be those avenues, and obviously that's not the most glamorous, but realistically, you're going to need teams like that. And if you could become a farm team and have great players come out of your organizations and stuff like that, I mean, you're going to be sitting pretty and a hell of a lot better than almost all amateur leagues or amateur organizations are looking right now. So that is one potential outcome, but that is something that we would have to work towards and prove as amateur leagues that we can do, or amateur organizations that we can do. Now, he brought up the whole, he thinks that some of us should team up and build our brands together and mesh our brands together and kind of just become a big company and have a huge amount of followers and continue to prosper that way, which is a possibility, but I feel like that should be more of the last resort. I know, me personally, I put a lot of time and money into my own organization, and I'm not even as successful as ViiTaL is, or as, how we mentioned, Hazard Esports is. I mean, I'm not even at their level yet, so I can only imagine what they put into it. But I feel like it'd be difficult to just walk away. Like, you should still fight, you should still, when you have the team mergers, you have the, if we're competing in the same game, what happens to my team, what happens to your team? Do we have two teams? Do we mesh the teams? Do we just say screw you to one team? It becomes messy, and then how do we decide which team is better and which team we keep? Not to mention, now you're burning bridges, and you might be losing people, and then now you're losing half the followers because they like the one player you lose, and it just becomes a huge messy situation. Now, but again, under the right circumstances, it could be better. And if your organizations are close and everything meshes, and say you have a LoL team and an Overwatch team, and one has a COD team and a Hearthstone team, then it may work well. But the stars have to align a little bit too fine for that. For me, I feel like we should continue grinding, because that's where most of us started. Is grinding these games, building rapport, building a name, building a brand. So it's a little bit tough to just set that to the side. And again, like I said, I mean, I'm not even a big brand yet. We're not even a big brand yet. We're kind of just getting started. We're just getting our feet wet. So I can only imagine from a point of you guys. But I just feel like it adds a couple more questions, a couple more possibilities, and it's just some things we need to talk about. But I mean, you are right as far as, in 2 years from now, we're not going to recognize where we are. These venues and these events are going to be like, well, I was just at COD Champs a couple months ago, and that's going to be every event here in a couple years as they start pouring more money into it. You know, the Overwatch League is kind of setting up where we're going to. You know, a whole bunch of money to invest in it. There's going to be literally a team per big city, and that's the future of esports. But it doesn't mean that, you know, we can't get a piece of the pie too. Now, I mean, if you have anything else, you know what I'm saying, Avery, if you'd like to comment or say anything else back, or, you know, let's continue this debate and have a bunch of ideas so we can figure out the best result, you know, let's keep this going. And another thing that actually just popped in my head, you know, another thing is potentially building better leagues. I mean, I don't know all of what you guys compete in, but like, our bread and butter is Call of Duty, and there's some really bad Call of Duty leagues, and it's some really toxic communities. So I mean, if you can figure out something to where you take that toxicity out and you like make it a little bit more sportsmanship and a lot better competition with some decent prizes, I feel like, you know, you could bring some things together that way and have a good farming system together. But anything you guys have, anything you dislike, anything you disagree with, any ideas is going to help. You know, all debate's just going to help the situation. So let me know what you think. Hopefully I get a response from you guys. Thank you.